So DeMar DeRozan's trade value is probably the highest it's ever going to be right now if you're the San Antonio Spurs. And also, if you're the San Antonio Spurs, you're kind of going nowhere at the moment. You have some young guys that have a lot of promise, like Keldon Johnson, DeJounte. Lonnie's still trying to put it together, but he's got all the physical tools, and Derek White hasn't even come back yet. So you could make a playoff run if you're the Spurs, but I think the wise decision is to try to trade DeRozan and Aldridge, to be honest, but Aldridge doesn't have the value that DeRozan has, and see what you can get for one, if not both of them. And DeMar, this is the last year of his contract. He is getting paid $27 million this year, and then he hits unrestricted free agency in a class where he might be the best player that's actually available. So he's in an interesting situation. I'm not sure it would be wise for a team in San Antonio's position to pay him long term. DeMar is 31, and he will be asking for, and he is worth a 4-year contract. He's been playing out of his mind this year, and he was really playing out of his mind last year too. He just went under the radar because the Spurs as a whole weren't very good. So when you look around the league for some trade destinations, one jumps out at me, not just for nostalgic reasons, but it's for the Toronto Raptors, for specifically Spinny P, Pascal Siakam. Now, Toronto is 2-6 as at the time of recording this, and their biggest struggle right now is half-court offense, which is DeRozan's biggest strength. Pascal Siakam is under contract for another 3 seasons, and he's getting paid about $100 million for those 3 seasons. He has proven to be, at least at this point of his career, not that guy. His half-court offense is the biggest weakness in his game. He doesn't have a go-to move outside of the spin move. It's just the left to right spin move in particular that he can go to in the half-court, and teams have scouted that. Teams know how to guard that, and he's had a rough year. So DeRozan would fix a lot of their half-court offense problems. They might take a dip defensively without Siakam, but this team has a bunch of good defenders. Van Vliet, Lowry are good on the perimeter. Chris Boucher is like a rim-protecting god right now. Norman Powell can get kind of nasty on the perimeter. OG Anunoby is a great 3-and-D guy. Aaron Baines can do something. Like, there's guys on this team that can still defend that will definitely help cover up DeMar on that end of the court. So currently, DeMar is averaging 21.5 points per game on 49 from the field, 39 from 3, throwing a career-high 7 assists, 5.5 rebounds, and only 1 turnover a game. The dude's been killing it, and Siakam is averaging 19 on 45 from the field and 30 from 3. So offensively, obviously the nod's going to go to DeRozan there. For the Spurs, as to why they would do this trade, they'll have enough money to keep Siakam, so financially it would be fine for them. There's probably not going to be another option better for them in this upcoming free agency class. So it's like, what's the point of having cap space if you're not really even going to use it to get a guy? Knicks. Anyways. But Siakam will fit more on the timeline with the young guys that San Antonio is trying to develop, and he can develop alongside of them, even if that makes San Antonio a little worse for this season and next season. And who knows, maybe after that. But losing DeMar for nothing is not a good look either if you're San Antonio. And as for Toronto, DeMar fits in with the age timeline as a lot of their guys there. You know, who knows what's going on with the East this year. This is a crazy season. And I definitely think there's something to be said about just being competitive year in and year out. Some years you're going to get lucky. Some years teams are going to get injured ahead of you, and you're going to be able to win some playoff series you probably weren't supposed to win. And who knows? I mean, there's been random teams that have won championships over the last 20 years, like the 07 Spurs come to mind when Dallas got knocked out, and then Phoenix had the suspensions, cleared a path for them to win a title. The 2011 Mavericks, the 2019 Raptors took advantage of injuries. So there's always something to be said about being competitive and not being at the basement of the league. The other trade destination that was floating around my head today was DeMar to Atlanta. Now Atlanta, after their hot start, has lost 4 in a row. John Collins is pointing fingers at Trae Young, and he's probably right, honestly. Trae Young is still horrific on defense, and he is a black hole is the wrong thing to call him on offense, because he is such a talented creator. I don't even want to call him a playmaker because he only passed for assists. He's kind of like what Westbrook was doing for a while in OKC when people would criticize him. But they don't have a lot of ball movement in Atlanta. It's a lot of watching Trae Young dribble and try to create, and that's definitely what John Collins called him out on. Just not playing to his team's strengths. And then I think these last couple of games, Trae might have tried to play more to the team's strengths, and he played horrible. He has not been playing that well. So if you're Atlanta, you're not trading Trae Young. Trae Young's the face of your franchise at this point. And you didn't extend Collins either, so now Collins is about to hit restricted free agency after this season. I could see Atlanta trying to move off Collins, and I think DeMar would be a good fit for them. DeMar is a guy who is a natural playmaker. He's somebody who can steady the ship when teams go on runs. He's a low turnover superstar, like I stated earlier, and Trae Young is a high turnover star. So hopefully that can help balance each other out. And Atlanta needs a vet to steer this ship. Their head coach is young. I like him. I like Lloyd Pierce. I think he's good. But he's still learning the ropes too. And as for San Antonio, similar to the Siakam deal that I floated out there earlier, John Collins is more on the career timeline and trajectory as the other young guards that San Antonio is trying to develop. They need a young big man. Right now they're running LaMarcus and Jakob as their two big men, and they're okay. They're not horrible, but they're not great. You're not going anywhere with LaMarcus Aldridge and Jakob Poeltl as your center rotation in today's NBA. If you're San Antonio, you probably are going to want to push for maybe like a 2022 protected first round pick, maybe like a top 5 protected pick, because DeMar is just a much better player than John Collins is. Just the talent disparity, like you would be losing talent if you're San Antonio in this deal. So you got to get a pick out of it, especially because that franchise has basically built its entire history off of drafting well. And I just think that's a trade that can benefit both teams, both in the short term and the long term, because I think Atlanta has shown that they would go, they're going to go into the luxury tax and go over the cap to keep guys to have a competitive team. And I think DeMar will definitely make them competitive. They're definitely a better team with Demar Derozen on that team. So anyways, a little bit outside of basketball, DeMar is going to miss tonight's game against the Timberwolves because his father is sick and he was flying back to LA. So prayers up for DeMar, for real. I know it's been a shitty 12 months for a lot of us, and just hope everybody's staying safe out there.